Howdy mates, how are we doing? Good afternoon. It just dawned on me that it's reaching that time of the day. Here's my first video for Sunday, April 9th, 2023. And I just first want to start by saying happy Norther, Souther, and Wester. Just saying. You get the idea. I mean, frankly, I'm really not one to partake in that holiday, but I will still acknowledge for the rest of you. So, there it be. Anyway, I'm over revisiting a particular site that I haven't been to for a good minute. We're at the Bok Tower Gardens, which is located in Lake Wales, Florida. Essentially, Lake Wales is situated in central Florida, and it is, of course, popular for Lake Wales Ridge, which is an elevated part of the state in which is the only parts of Florida that was never underwater prehistorically. So some of the sand that you will find here is thousands of years old, ancient. But I figured while I was on this trail, there were a couple of plants that I, of course, want to point out. So here we've got something called the Swiss cheese plant. How very creative, right? Now they are a particular shrub, as you can see. I mean, just look at this. Well, you just look at it. But they are originally native to different parts of South Mexico. So not too far. I mean, they're probably one of those plants. They're non-native, but by no means are they invasive. Because otherwise, what would be the point of cultivating them if they were to be out of control? And I figured too, while I was here, we've got our Japanese Camellia. Now, it's also known as Camellia japonica, or cameo pink. So when they bloom, they produce these pinkish white flowers. And for those of you who know about camellias, they can be very gorgeous. And they're another example of a non-native plant, because most of the species of Camellia are originally from parts of Eastern and Southeast Asia. So they were basically brought over here to cultivate them. But given that they prefer a more subtropical or tropical climate, they're able to thrive here just fine. But by no means are they invasive either. They just have a way of naturalizing here, which is a big difference. And it is noted that there are up to 3,000 different species of Camellia. Japonica just happens to be one of the most popular types. But anyways, you know, they're always noted for their glossy leaves right here. You can see even on the stem it has a bit of a alternating. So like you have one here, you have one there, kind of like a ladder. And generally, you know, they can start off as little bushes, like right here, and then they can almost turn into trees. So they can grow quite extensively. So that's the thing about Bok Tower Gardens. You know, there is a chance to incorporate native plants here, of course, but you will also see non-native plants as well. You know, this place was dedicated by Edward Bok himself. For those of you who don't know about him, his lifetime in the late 1800s going into the 1900s, he was basically a journalist and an advocate, like an environmental advocate and a philanthropist. And so, as one of his final influences of his life, he wanted to dedicate his philanthropy towards creating a public gardens for people to just simply, just admire the beauty of the natural world and have a break from the hustle and bustle. Quite ironically, I'm doing it for the same exact reason. This past week was just very hectic in terms of work, so this was a very necessary break. But anyway, of course, what a lot of people come here for is the singing tower. Now, I'm going to dedicate my next video that goes over more about the singing tower, but it does rise 200 feet above ground. But anyway, I'm going to save that for my next video. So I will say one thing, if any of you ever happen, oh yeah, hold on a second. So like Everglades palm, right here, that you can see. This is an example of a native palm in Florida. Everglades palm looks very similar to saw palmetto. I believe the difference has to do with how high they grow and sort of their frond pattern. So like Everglades palm usually occurs in patches. So as you can see, you've got a cluster of a couple of different palms. I believe that was an adaptation for them to essentially create islands, to basically create like a base, because majority of the Everglades is river of grass. So that's why I said there's an incorporation of both non-native and native. But the difference, though, it seems, with saw palmetto versus Everglades palm is the frond has a bit of more of a, how do I want to put it? A bit more of like a dome shape. So like outline right here, it has more of that dome shape. Whereas the saw palmetto, it doesn't really have that particular feature. Kind of looks more like a hand more than anything. But like I said, though, if any of you guys ever have a chance to come out here, it is so worth it, just because there's really not many places like this in Florida. I mean, you've got your other gardens, but to have a tower like this, it just makes it unique in and of itself. So all right, you guys, take care. Enjoy your Sunday, and Journey on a Journey is onwards. Take care, folks. See ya.